What do you know now that you wish you knew then? I gave this some thought and I really came up with 3 primary areas. So the first being is be okay with what you don't know, but figure out how to investigate and experiment. Giving yourself permission to not have all the answers allows you to explore what the problem really is and consider more solutions. The second one is never throw your work over the wall. So what do I mean by that? If you just hand off work that you've done, you miss an opportunity to influence how your work gets sent out into the world. Get to know your audience, as well as the other people involved in producing and delivering your design. And finally, the third one is design can be bigger than the deliverables. It's more than just a color palette, an image, site, or application. And it gets really exciting when you start to design with people from different disciplines, perspectives, and backgrounds who bring different strengths to the process. Working with the right people results in a richer experience for your audience. So those are the 3 points that I've come to think of. It's be okay with what you don't know, never throw your work over the wall, and design can be bigger than the deliverables. I hope this has been helpful.
In general, this is a novel and new, totally new concept. The truth is, I want to be extremely frank with you and be really candid about what your future could look like. I've decided it's always best to hire and employ some of the most brilliant and interesting people. You have to really choose and select people that can read your mind, that can work swiftly. They can look around the corner at every bend and see every curve in the road. These people are brave, they're valiant, you love them. Their minds move swiftly and they're fast. They've got a keen eye and they sharply dress, or they dress sharply. What you gotta reveal and you gotta show the world is what you stand for and why. And then you're really gonna glisten and shine.
Very nice turns. You look great. Let's ski 'em.
Freedom. The most elusive reward of your creative career can only be earned. Freedom is hard work.
For anyone that works with their brain on a daily basis, my advice is to take notes. Don't trust your brain as a flawed instrument to completely capture everything that you want to have and want to have learned from throughout the day. For one, taking notes, especially when you're talking to somebody else, proves that you're paying attention, and that attentiveness is the start of collaboration, because the more you're willing to listen and the more you're willing to value that person's thoughts and ideas, the more they're going to do the same when it's your turn to be presenting to them. It also is a chance to reinforce your learning. I don't trust my own memory, and I definitely don't trust the letter of the creative brief or the assignment or the PowerPoint when it comes time to learn and recall what I was thinking at that moment. So I like to create a thread that I can follow and that other people can follow of my own thinking throughout. And also when it comes time to sell in work or an idea or a concept or a strategy, the best place to start is with the words of the people that you're trying to sell it into. Make sure that's their ideas, and if you've written down their words and you can recall them back to them, then you're one step ahead. And then lastly, for every great thinker, for every creative person, scientist or artist, you can go back and look at their amazing thought archive that comes through in the notes that they were taking. So whether you use graph paper or the back of an envelope, or if you're like me and use stacks and stacks of notebooks, take notes. You'll get value out of it, and the people that work with you will get value out of it too.
Something I know now, but that I wish I knew then, is that pushy isn't the word I should have been using to describe myself. I always thought that because I was nice every time I wanted to close a deal with a client or move forward with something, I had to be pushy to get what I wanted. And it's okay to be self-deprecating, but it's not really describing oneself as pushy when you really mean that you're driven, ambitious, smart, problem-solving, and focused. That's a great way to put the wrong image in people's minds if you're using the word pushy. To run my business, I thought I had to be all of those things, and I still do to this day. However, I coded that as being pushy. In reality, I'm no pushier than the salesperson on the phone, and that's not a bad thing. If we're putting our creative intelligence toward building things and making things that are good for the world and good for people, then being persistent and following up on conversations, following up on everything that everyone said to you, isn't being pushy. It's being the strong, creative, ambitious person you need to be to see your vision come to life.
I wish I had known that clients aren't always going to want the best design decision. They're always going to want the best business decision. And you can't punish your client for not recognizing the connection between a certain kind of user experience, a color palette, a type choice. You can't expect them to know that these are good. You have to put in the effort of demonstrating that these are good business decisions, that these are well-researched, organized, and that you're putting forward something that's really going to benefit them in the long run. So I really encourage you to think about yourself as both a maker and a convincer. So you're going to spend time putting together the best work, but then you're also going to need to spend time selling it, convincing the client that that's really the thing that they need to go with.
Hey, here's some sagely advice from somebody who's probably just a little bit older than you, and it is this. One, worry is productive. I know it sounds crazy, but I worry all the time, and you are going to probably be worrying all the time too in your work, in your creative endeavors. So the real goal is to take that and use it for something. Take that worry, and in our world we would say turn it into an offer. Find out what the opportunity is in the worry and use that. The other one is to make the call. So what does that mean? It's simply, if somebody says to you, you should call me, then you should do it, because you never know where things like that are going to lead. It's helped me a huge amount, is just to kind of follow through with that stuff. Ask for help. So, especially when I was younger, I thought I needed to be an expert in everything, and I was embarrassed and didn't want to ask for help from the people around me. Complete myth. Do it. They'll respect you. It forms a relationship. It's a great thing to do. And I really am a big fan of this quote, and it's from a guy named Keith Johnstone, who is a bit of a guru in the work that I do in this world of improvisation. And he says this. He says, there are those that prefer to say yes and those that prefer to say no. Those that say yes are rewarded by the adventures they have, and those that say no are rewarded, same word, by the safety they attain. And his observation is that there are far more no-sayers in the world, than yes-sayers. And my invitation to you is to prove him wrong. Say yes, create more of those yes-sayers in the world, and watch the adventures that happen from that. Hope that helps. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Hunter, and I'm here to share with you some deep thoughts on a rainy day from a strategist perspective. So I've been working about 20 years in branding and design for top Fortune 500 clients as well as little startups. And what I've seen is that it's a very cheesy but true statement that I learned long ago. The clients don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. Sorry it's that bad, but really dive into your clients' finances on Google Finance. Read through their annual reports if they're publicly traded. Walk the stores if they're a retailer. Try the product, try the software, do whatever it is. Empathize with them so you can come to the meeting with a really good point of view. Give them an outside perspective. Share with them something that's based on their business, but will also give them something to get excited about, that you're bringing value and a new point of view. Best of luck to you.
I can't believe that last run. Epic!
Hey, this is Scott from Connective DX. I'm the design director here. I've worked in-house agencies of different types, retail, branding, digital, and what's my advice going to be? I've found sort of one pattern with working with different kinds of creatives and strategists in a variety of places, which is that you got to play to your strengths. There's a school of thought right now that you need to learn all sorts of things to be successful. Like if you're a designer, you have to learn how to code. If you're a developer, you got to learn how to design. If you're sort of an art director, kind of creative, you need to learn how to illustrate, like whatever it is. Sort of called like the slash generation, people generating school or graduating school now, where you have to learn all these things to be successful, and it's just not true. I've really found the people that are really good at what they do, including myself, it's because you pick a lane and you get really good at it. So if you're naturally conceptual, just go that route. Just be a creative strategist, be an art director, be something in that world. If you're a digital designer, which more and more, that's almost everything has a digital component now. You'll never be a good coder compared to people that code. It's good to understand it, so understand the skill that's adjacent to yours, but let coders be coders. Be a good designer. Just every hour you focus on learning something that isn't core to what you do is an hour you could have learned how to do what you do better. So it's really just be confident in what you're good at. If you follow that path, you'll end up somewhere good.
Hi, I'm Jessie Sternschus. I'm the owner of the Improv Effect. And if I think back about what I've learned since I started the Improv Effect, one of the things that stands out to me is, what if I had known all of the things that I currently know now? And I think sometimes the reason that my job has worked is because I didn't know everything from the beginning, that I kind of took things as they came and really noticed them when they sort of showed up, and then had the ability to understand what it was that I was good at and how I could help fill in those blanks as they sort of hit me in the face. I don't think when you start out you need to have the perfect plan in mind. I think your plan should be to be flexible and to be aware of how things are changing and creative with how you can go along with the changes that are going on around you.
Hello, I am Melissa Day, Director of Strategy and Innovation here at Luxottica Retail North America. And if I could go back and tell myself something, my younger self, it would be figure out what that superpower is. That one thing that you probably don't have written on your resume, but is the one thing that people remember you most for. Ask around, ask for feedback, be open to feedback. Be diligent in trying to figure out what that superpower is, because once you've figured it out, it actually opens so many paths and opportunities for you. For example, on my resume, it may say strategist. In fact, my superpower is the ability to make people comfortable with being uncomfortable. So having people be in that wonderful space where to be collaborative and let go and put the defenses down is one of my special skills. Again, not something that I would put in a job title, but yet it allows me to do what I do in an amazing way. Also look for an environment where you can leverage this to the most. So it may not always be a creative agency. It could be a place that could really use your help and leveraging that superpower to the most. So dig deep, be open to feedback, and be humble, and you'll do great things.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm up here on this mountaintop. I wouldn't be on the mountaintop if I didn't jump off a few cliffs along the way. 10 things that I've learned. 1. Never stop learning. If you think you have the answers, or if you think somebody else has the answers, you have a problem. Ask questions that lead to more questions. 2. Mistakes are okay. Try to make good ones. 3. In the mind of every expert, there are few possibilities. In the mind of a beginner, there are many. 4. People who are serious about their work move towards what they do not know. 5. We are not separate from nature. Design things to benefit all living beings. 6. Give and take in equal measure. As a friend of mine says, give and give. 7. Capitalism is not inherently good. Sure, we need to eat, but you know in your heart that money is hollow. 8. Do meaningful work. Whatever speaks to you also speaks of you. 9. Use your design and communication training to take political action. 10. Trust yourself, love what you do, then go do it.
Great. Let's ski 'em. Who's first? Agent for beauty.
Don't forget about bits of paper. I like to keep a shoebox. All kinds of ideas go into it. Some of them aren't worth looking at again, but you never know. And I don't think... Does that band exist? I don't think you'll find the same things if you keep putting things on your phone. Don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Sometimes that's the way you build a body of work and develop cohesion in your identity. Maybe still do that. Develop the narrative that makes you you.
I think the biggest thing I've learned as a designer, and frankly that I still struggle with, is that I am not my work. That for you as a designer, your immense value as a human being is not defined by the success or failure of your projects. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't put a ton of ourselves and feel great pride and investment in the work that we do. It's just that the reception to that work, the success or failure of that work, or the silence or applause or even disdain of an audience has nothing to do with who you are as a person. And I think that's really important, because as many of us go out there and we try to create new things, as we try to invent the future, as we try to really change the status quo, we are inevitably going to fail. And the risk is that we take those failures as bad work, and therefore we are bad. And that is no way to think. We have to think of even failures as productive experiments. I tried something crazy and it didn't work out. I learned from it. To take reception to our work as commentary on our work, but not on ourselves. Because I think that the wildly successful projects do not make you a better person, and failed projects certainly do not make you a worse one. So I think that my advice is to take commentary on your work as exactly that, commentary on your work, and think about what you can learn from it and how to make your work better, because you are an awesome person. And that's the way to, I think, have a productive work career and, frankly, a happier life.
What do I know now that I wish I knew then? I'd have to say learning how to be very comfortable with receiving feedback. We all have reasons for the way that we behave or act, or the way that we did a particular project, but it doesn't pay to get defensive and be upset about receiving feedback. It is actually much better if you're able to ask clarifying questions, learn from the opportunity. It's okay if you have a really good reason for doing something that you explain your point of view, but never approach it in an aggressive or defensive manner. Using it as an opportunity to have a really productive, helpful conversation, and use it as an incredible growth opportunity for yourself. We'll receive feedback throughout our careers as long as we're going, and being able to graciously receive feedback is one of the best things that you can do.
What I know that I wish I had known sooner is that in order to be a designer, you don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be someone who's always been writing and always been sketching and has a vision. That's wonderful. But sometimes not having a vision makes it easier to take on someone else's and to put on someone else's point of view, which is a big part of design. It's being empathetic to kind of the needs and the lives of others and figuring out a way to make it better. So don't count yourself out if you're not a traditional creative. You're probably a very integral part of the design team as a pragmatist and as like a supposed non-artist. And secondly, you don't actually have to hold the title of designer to be a designer. I'm a writer and I'm a strategist, and it's taken me from advertising to marketing to digital design and now product design. And the decisions I make as a writer and as a strategist really impact the final product. So that makes me a designer. So you could be one too.